are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo. It is Sunday morning. Week 3 of the NFL is upon us, and it is time to gamble away some of our money. Hopefully, we win you some money this week. It has not been great, though. Not going to lie to you. We got some work to do. We got to pick some things up. We're even changing strategies a little bit. But before we start diving into all of that, let me bring in my guy, the man to my left, Stanford Evervold. Pick Evo, my dude. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Still slightly recovering from the back injury, but overall doing pretty well. Looking forward to week 3. We need to fix our gambling shit, man. I fucking hate the spread. It's only taken me 3 weeks to decide I completely hate the fucking spread. And it's reflective in our numbers as of right now. We are a lot closer to the regular national media that only bets the spread. It's been a little bit of a wonky year. I mean, we've had some upsets and whatnot. Not the greatest.
I improved by a game last week. You went 6-10 again. We got to do better. We will do better this week. I feel it in my bones. I know that we got it in us. But listen, we're not gonna run away from the things that we pick, the things that we say. We're gonna own that. And we're going to figure it the fuck out this week.
Yeah, we aren't going to sweep our problems under the rug or anything like that. But, already started off my weekend doing well with gambling. Took the lady up to the casino yesterday. Early day casino trip. We were going to go the night before, but just took too long to get ready and everything. And so we went yesterday, played a little bit of blackjack. That's my game. I consider it a blackjack table forever. Won a decent little bit on that, and then she was hitting it on the slots, doing well. So we, of course, took it to the casino and went in with a couple hundred, left with a couple hundred more.
Very nice.
So,
How you do today at the casino?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, she was trying to act baller, which I was goading her into. It's all good.
Oh yeah, I heard the Italian in there for sure. I heard the Italian.
She just thinks she's a little gangster.
Big money. Yeah, man. Oh, I'm glad you guys had a good time.
She's a little bit of a gangster, but yeah, had a decent time. Got to spend like 4 or 5 hours up there. Blackjack. She was able to just sit there at the table with me and watch the blackjack because I'm trying to teach her slowly. I got her a couple apps of how to play blackjack, and then we actually had some really good dealers who were like explaining everything to her because they're like, "You want to play?" And she's like, "No, I'm learning. I'm just watching him to learn." And so everything that happened on the table, they would like look at her and be like, "This is happening because of this and this." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty fucking awesome. That's nice of them." Because I've had other experiences at the casino where it's just like, you get some old native man who's just stern, stoic, and pissed if you're not like keeping things up pace wise. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I taught producer Amber how to play some blackjack. Very similar thing. We were actually in Vegas the first time we played, but off the strip. Lady was very nice. Older lady sat there and taught producer Amber all sorts of things. And we've been pretty lucky here as well. People have been fairly nice in explaining the rules and the games to her. Because when you play with somebody at a blackjack table, as somebody who's well versed in blackjack, if that person doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, it gets very difficult to play at that blackjack table.
Yeah, it can be difficult for sure. Like if you have someone that absolutely has no idea and they're just like, they're hitting on a 19 or something like that, and the dealers, got a 5, you're gonna be like, okay, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like theoretically, you are fucking the whole thing up. But at the end of the day, I just try to focus on my game and what the dealer has and what I have, and just go off of that little the matrix chart of what you're supposed to do. I have that pretty well locked down. So, but good time. Won some good money yesterday. I'm trying to carry that luck into today, and we need to up these scores. I'm hitting on like a third of my bets. I need to be on at 2/3 of the bets. My hope for the day is at least 50%, but we're gonna shoot for 2/3. And like you said, we changed things up a little bit. Yours is a little bit more, I think, analytical as to why you're switching your stuff up. Mine is I'm leaving this more to the fucking gods.
Well, so for me, man, I spent a lot of time in the first couple weeks. I was going through and I was doing so much research. I was looking at historical data for fucking years. And, sometimes it doesn't work that way because, odds change or guys change. But I spent a lot of time really focusing on, all right, so this is where the money is. This is what has happened in the past. So this is what I'm going to go with. Now I'm going more football. Like, I know that things have gone this way for gambling. I still have some of that in there, but now I'm starting to just play a lot more of the teams. Who do I think is actually better, and how much better do I think this team is? We're starting to see things take shape. We're not all the way there yet. We've talked about it. You need the first quarter of the season to really figure these teams out. But we're starting to get a little bit of a sense for what these teams are gonna be. So that's where I'm going with. I'm riding my gut a little bit more than so much of the analytics and the numbers.
Yeah, that's I'm also kind of going to be going off my gut and the eye test a little bit more, but I'll be flipping things because I've done a little bit more of my gut in previous weeks here, and the gut hasn't fucking worked out completely. So we're following the gut and we're shading it. We're fading that gut.
Fading the gut.
Yeah. On a lot of these picks. But with that, are you ready to jump in, or do you want any college football or anything like that you watched this weekend that you want to go?
Listen, Michigan got lucky. Fuck you, USC. We brought you over to the Big Ten for nothing. I mean, it was a good game. Ohio State played well. They're a good team. They're super, super explosive. Ohio State should be, in my opinion, the odds-on favorite to win.
You guys were playing what, Marshall?
Yeah. We listen. The first 3 weeks of the season,
I beat up on the hard R kid. It was all good.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So it's not something that I'm proud of, but that's what Ohio State does. We kick the shit out of teams in the first 3 weeks of the season because we're supposed to, and now we're about to play some real teams. So that's what I'm looking forward to. A real game coming up soon. Actually, next weekend, I'm going to be in a different location. Our Sunday morning game or our Sunday morning show is going to be a little different. I'm going to be coming to you guys from Wyoming. So there may be a little attire being worn. Because I got to go to a wedding. My brother-in-law is getting married this next weekend. Congratulations, Josh. We'll see you soon. But yeah, so I'm going to be out there. I'm excited for the weeks to come. There's a lot of college football to go, but am I going to get wrapped around anything yet? No, Ohio State hasn't played nobody. Nobody's really played too many somebodies yet. Big game yesterday. USC could have knocked off Michigan. Did not. Now they both have one loss. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because 12 teams make the playoffs. Ohio State's going to be in those 12 teams. So I don't need them to necessarily look good, be good, because with that many teams getting in, Ohio State's basically locked in for forever.
Welcome to Big Ten football, USC.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome to Big Ten football. They're just going to line up with 2 tight ends, 2 backs, and run it down your fucking throat.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Should we get into our NFL slate here?
Hell yeah, let's do this, man. I'm ready to roll.
All right, cool. So first game that we're going to be talking about today is what do we got?
This is a Surfside lemonade. There's no bubbles. The bubbles fuck my stomach up since the accident, which is why I don't drink too much anymore. So these are fucking delicious.
Who runs you or your stomach?
That's the same thing.
Bitch.
Come on. I look like this for a reason, baby. It's not.
Bring the bubbles back. That's going to be our new hashtag. Bring the bubbles back. All right. First game that we're going to start off with this week, Eagles at the Saints. Currently on FanDuel, we have the Saints being favored in this one after putting up, I believe, 91 points in the first 2 weeks. They're favored by 2.5 points, dropping 2.5 at minus 118 odds. Eagles 104 odds. Eagles on, what was it? Monday night? I can't remember which.
Monday.
Way, it was a fucking
primetime Kirk Cousins showed up on Monday night, baby.
For one drive.
Yeah.
He did show up for one drive. And in reality, let's be fair here. Sirianni, giant piece of shit. he kind of ruined that game for the Eagles. Like, not that the Eagles were playing good. They gave up or are giving up almost 7 yards per rush play, which is insanely bad. I think like in this situation, again, I don't want to denigrate the Saints because I just can't trust who they are yet, but you have to give respect to putting up that many points and what Clint Kubiak's doing with that offense. But
Right.
dude, like I can't completely trust them yet. It looks like the Cowboys didn't play them last week. It looks like they just fucked around. And then they played Carolina, which was an exhibition game.
Yeah.
Look, Sirianni, I actually have this in my notes here. As you can take this to the bank. Sirianni is a hard R, should be making pizzas rather than having anything to do with the professional football team. So that's an actual stat. He's terrible. And if they continue to have games like they did last week, we're going to see the team turning on him just like they were at the end of last year. I don't know if the guy knows football that well. He just knows how to fucking call bullshit, dipshit plays on the sideline. Look, Saquon should have caught the ball. All right. You or I would have caught that ball.
Yeah.
At the end of the game. But shouldn't have been put in that situation either.
Right.
You know, they absolutely could have just ran it, taken so much time off, and then that last 2-minute drill drive from Kirk Cousins probably wouldn't have happened. But I mean, congrats to the Falcons and Cousins for what they were able to do in that drive and get the win. It just brings me to this point, when we had our early season predictions of how things were going to go, the Eagles were, for both of us, a very strong team.
Yeah.
And I still think that they can be that team talent-wise on their roster. They just need some fucking coaching.
Okay.
And maybe this is their preseason ending or something like that. I just I know that for me personally, the hot hand right now is the Saints. And so the gut is telling me take the Saints at home, drop the points. They've been holding opponents to very low, I think 17 or less points at home. So the pick here would be Saints and drop the points. So I'm fading the gut. I'm taking Philly plus the points.
Okay, so that's a long way to get there. Jalen Hurts is 1-8 in his last 9 starts against the spread. That's pretty fucking bad. Like, I don't know that you can get much worse than that other than, 0-9. There's a couple of teams, specifically the Giants, who are that bad, but or more should I say, Danny Dimes. But 1-9 or 1-8 is atrocious. Derek Carr, though, for his career, 22, 37, and 2 against the spread as a favorite. So neither one of these teams is like, oh yeah, please bet on me. You brought it up. Do we know what the Saints are yet? I don't. I think I know what they could be. Like, that offense could be really dangerous.
We know that Dennis Allen is not a great head coach. We know that they have not overturned their roster, but they're having a lot better production. That's why it's so tough to fucking sink your teeth into this and be like, oh, the Saints have changed and they're actually this good.
And so
the eye test for me, I got to go back to the eye test for me last week when they were playing the Cowboys. It was not like that two powerhouse teams are going up against one another and one of them dominated. It was the Cowboys looked like they did not practice. They did not prepare for the game. They didn't look motivated or into the game or interested at all. They looked like they thought they were just going to walk over them. And the Saints took advantage of every single opportunity.
Yeah, they absolutely did. So I need one more week before I can really trust the Saints. I do. I'm going the Eagles. Terrible way to end that last game. They obviously have some holes, but I'm not ready to say, yes, the Saints are going to be one of those powerhouse teams, which is where I expected Philly to be. I was shocked that game ended the way it did. I think they bounce back. So Eagles plus the 2.5 for me.
All righty. Next up, we're going to go to my Vikings game versus Houston. We are in Minnesota for this one. Houston Texans last week fight off the Bears, but Bears defense kind of held them, to 17, 19 points. I can't remember which, but either way, they didn't eclipse 20, which I kind of figured, that it's a damn good Houston offense that they'd be able to do good things there. But now they're going up against Minnesota in Minnesota, a tough place to play, and Minnesota's got a better defense, top 3 scoring defense in the league. Texans have never beaten Minnesota before. I mean, still somewhat of a relatively new team, but to never have beaten Minnesota, that still says a little bit of something. But look, Vikings defense and that Flores defense is kind of the key today, in my opinion. They lead the league in sacks with 11 sacks. They lead the league in quarterback hits with 19. They are not having to pressure anywhere near as much. They're still, I think, like top 3 in the league in blitz rate, but they are blitzing like half as much as they were last year. So they're getting home with guys. Kind of sucks we have some dinged up players. Ivan Pace not playing today, but and Jordan Addison kind of figured that he wouldn't be playing. Didn't play last week either. But if the Bears defense was able to hold the Texans to 19 points, Minnesota's defense is better. I think that and Joe Mixon is going to be out for this game.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have the same sort of running attack. I like Minnesota's defensive odds against CJ Stroud. They're going to be bringing a lot of interesting pressures and whatnot against that offense. It's a big comeback game too for some Texans players there. You've got Stephon Diggs, first time playing back in Minnesota since he left. Danielle Hunter, personal favorite of mine, who he's still lighting it up there with Houston. He's coming back. So that'll be an interesting matchup to watch. And on the flip side, Blake Cashman and Jonathan Grenard both came from the Texans to Minnesota this year. So that'll be a fun one. But as of right now, the odds are Minnesota plus 1.5 at minus 105 odds. So the Texans are favored at minus 1.5. So this isn't like a gut thing for me. Like, I'm taking my Vikings to win this game. So of course I'm going to give them the points. I'll take the plus 105. And to me, the big question is how long before Stephon Diggs starts whining that he's not getting enough targets out there? Because history, that's one thing that we can lean into with history, is that he likes to cry and whine. And we already saw a little bit on sidelines after, I think, even like week 1 of him like jaw jacking. Like, if they start losing
touchdowns.
He did, but he's still not getting a bunch of targets. I think he still wants to be the number 1 guy, and Nico's that.
Nico's the fucking number 1.
He's
as he should be.
And I think the argument starts to happen between Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs, who's the number 2. And
I'd argue that it's Tank.
It's a week-to-week thing at a minimum, but I would lean towards Tank because he's the young hot hand, So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going Vikings plus the points here, just because I do think that we have a very good shot at winning this game outright, being in Minnesota.
Yeah. So for me, man, historical gambling data doesn't mean a fucking thing in this game. Sam Darnold is new there. Sam Darnold has been obviously terrible to bet on in his career. 2-0 against the spread in his first 2 weeks. CJ Stroud, we know, is pretty good, but hasn't been lighting anything on fire. This game, I think, will be close. I think this is probably a 1-point game. A 1-score game, 3-point game. So 1.5 for me feels like a pick 'em. I feel like the Texans have a really good group. The matchup that I'm excited to see today is the Texans pass rushers versus tackles. They've got some guys that are going to be after Sam Darnold today. Sam Darnold has not necessarily faced a ton of pressure. I think that pressure gets dialed up a little bit today. We'll see how he deals with that. That's the matchup that I'm looking out for. I got the Texans minus 1.5 because I think this is probably a 3-point game. Comes down right to the end, field goal to win it. It could go either way, absolutely, because I think you guys will stay relatively close. But coming down to the end, Sam Darnold, I'm not there yet on him. He's played well, yes, but we've seen Sam Darnold play well for 2 weeks in a row. I need to see him play well consistently. Can he go out and win a game against a good team? We'll find out, and we'll see how he deals with some pressure, because I expect that they're going to bring some heat today.
Yeah, for sure. I thought we did a pretty good job last week versus Bosa and that 49ers D. Like, we got 2 unheralded tackles. I mean, like, I think that we might have one of, if not the best tackle duo in the league right now. And they've done a damn good job against some pretty decent pass rushes, from the Giants and 49ers. But I completely get where you're coming from. That's always going to be the question: is how can Darnold hold
the
up
guys that they have faced on the edge have been stronger, guys. We're going to see a little bit of a speed element this game, I think, that your tackles haven't necessarily seen yet.
Yep. It's definitely a good test, and interested to see how Sam Darnold fares against it. All right, next game we have the Giants versus your Browns out there in Cleveland. Currently, the Browns are favored -6.5 points on FanDuel, -115 odds, and -105 if you want to give the Giants some points.
Well, before we move on to the Browns game, we got Robert Schwenk in here saying he needs that Texans D to fuck up the Vikings. What's up, Robert? Thank you for tuning in. Actually saw him yesterday, did the field day Battle of Ohio down there in the Columbus area. Had a lot of fun. Team Cleveland did not rep very hard. Team Cleveland consisted of me, producer Amber, and Robert's daughter. So Team Cleveland needs to step their game up next time because I don't want to lose to Columbus or fucking Cincinnati. And I don't know why Cincinnati was even involved in the Battle of Ohio. That shit's in Kentucky. Anyways, let's move on to the Browns and the Giants. Dude, Daniel Jones has fucking lost 9 straight against the spread. That's ridiculous. Kevin Stefanski, for what it's worth in his time here as a head coach in Cleveland, 4-0 in week 3. I don't think any of those make a goddamn difference. None of these empirical stats matter to me in this one because it's still the Giants, Danny Dimes. He is going to be just in so much trouble today. We're going to bring a lot of pressure. Myles Garrett's going to have a big day, I expect. And if not, you can almost certainly guarantee to see me screaming at my fucking TV again on Twitter. I'm sorry, X. But, yeah, listen, we're getting guys back. We're getting Jedrick Wills back. We are starting left tackle. That's a huge get back for us. We have been waiting for these fucking tackles to get back, and it hasn't happened. So now we got DeJuan Jones on one side, Jedrick Wills on another, still waiting on Conklin. We're going to figure out who the swing tackle is at some point when they all get healthy. But thank God we got some health coming back. I don't think we'll have to be special against the Giants to win. So I got the Browns, and I'm going to drop the points, -6.5 points.
I mean, I got to see that Giants team week 1. I know how bad they are. I know how bad Danny Dimes can be. Now, the Giants last week, they won the game if it weren't for the fact that their kicker got hurt. And they were doing that, with, actually putting up some touchdowns and whatnot. But if their kicker wasn't hurt, they probably won that game. But they weren't facing a very good Washington team to begin with. Like, you guys are a better team. It is, to me, like your defense should absolutely be able to mess with Danny Dimes a little bit. But for me, it is on your offense. Like, your defense could hold them, the Giants, to 3 points, and it's can the offense put up points for you guys. I know you were happy with Deshaun's performance last week.
Average. He was playing league average quarterback last week, and that was fucking good enough to win.
I mean, he was playing bottom third of the league average. He was still the 23rd ranked quarterback in week 2. And I believe he's ranked like 28th for the year. So it's still bottom third, barely bottom third, but it was still meh. And against that Jags team that is looking pretty fucking ass right now. They got some problems, and Trevor Lawrence even said as much in his press conference. And a little bit of a nasty weather game and everything. And then we saw a little bit more of Deshaun being able to move around and push downfield a little bit more. But I'm also not buying into that just yet personally. But at the end of the day, your guys' defense completely better. But the Giants do have a good front seven. I will say that they have the opportunity to really put some pressure on Watson, and maybe that's going to create those bad situations from him again. Like Dexter Lawrence, if he's able to get up in his face, like, that could cause some serious problems. Either way, Browns absolutely should win this one, and that's where my gut is. I'm taking the Oppo bet. I'm doing the Giants +6.5. I'm fading the gut.
Fading the gut.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Hi, so
it feels nasty. Who wants to bet on the Giants? Not me. But we're going to. You got to take the nasty picks, man. Got to take.
Yeah. All right. So, I got nothing else there, brother. Are you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, we got the Packers and the Titans being played out in Nashville. This is another, fuck Green Bay. As of right now, I believe Jordan Love is still questionable, but Malik Willis is slated to start.
He's been ruled out. as far as last I heard, he has been ruled out.
I know yesterday it was questionable, but they were this was like almost midnight here in Arizona time that questionable. Malik Willis expected to start. But right now the line is Tennessee -3 at -108 odds. Tennessee being the favorite here. Malik Willis going back to where he was drafted. And Packers +3 points at -112 odds. What do you got for this one, Mike? Because obviously I think the Packers are terrible.
Yeah, so listen. Matt LaFleur is actually technically really good at the dog, 23-11 against the spread. Will Levis in the first half of games is 8-3 against the spread. So, like, the Titans should win this game if they can get out, build a lead, I think, and not let Will Levis fuck it up. But they can always come back because the Packers are good as dogs, or Matt LaFleur is good as dogs. We've got to think that the Titans know that they're going to run the fucking ball, though, in this game, right? They're not going to do what the Colts did and let them just ram it up their ass for 4 straight quarters, knowing damn well that it's coming, like the Army, the fucking big green weenie, just giving it to you, and you know that there's nothing that you can do to stop it, because that's what happened last week when the Packers played the Colts. That's what it felt like watching that game, just getting the big green weenie. I think the Titans are going to be prepared and know that that's what's coming, and they are the guy that drafted Malik Willis. They know what he is. They know what he does. Titans -3 as long as Will Levis doesn't find a way to fuck it up at the end of the game.
So then
that's what I got.
What do you think the actual bet is?
I'm going Titans -3.
Because you can't bet Titans -3 as long as Will Levis doesn't fuck up. I don't think the sports books take that.
I know. So I'm going Titans -3.
That's the thing.
I'm just hoping that Will Levis doesn't fuck this up at the end.
Willis was able to get some passing going last week. Like 12 passes, 14 passes or something like that. And it's because they were able to run the ball so fucking much and so effectively that when the box is being stacked, and then there's going to be little dink dunks open and stuff like that, and those guys are going to be able to get yak. It's not going to be the same this week. This Titans team, while I don't think that they are great by any means, I think they're kind of like that league average team. Their defense is really good and has been performing really well. Specifically, the run defense has been performing really well. And that's what the Packers are going to do today, is run the ball. So the Packers are going to be running into the strength of this Titans team. And if it wasn't for the fact that Levis fucked up in week 1, and if it wasn't for the fact that Levis fucked up in week 2, the Titans should be 2-0 right now. And he stepped on his crank playing hero ball. If they can rein him in at all, like I said, he's fucking volatile Jay Cutler. If they can rein him in at all, they should be able to have won those first 2 games. They should be able to win this game. Titans defense only given up 413 yards in their first 2 games, which is pretty damn good. Going up against NFL offenses who aren't the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
So for me, this isn't a gut play or anything like that. This is Titans drop the points because fuck Green Bay, and because they absolutely should win this game.
Yeah, there's no question in my mind that the Titans should win this game. It will literally come down to, does Will Levis fuck this up?
I mean, how many games in a row can he fuck it up? At that point, you're betting on the odds of him not fucking up. Yeah, that's the thing, is like Callahan might say, okay, we have a lead in the 4th quarter. I'm pulling Levis and I'm putting out a second running back to just carry the fucking ball.
Yeah.
I
swear to God, it's like if he would not have played the 4th quarter in both of those games, they almost certainly win.
Yeah. And look, not the worst play if they want to do that, pull Levis.
Yeah.
And just a wildcat run the ball offense out there. All right, next up we have the Bears and the Colts being played in Indianapolis. We just talked shit about the Colts, and I think we're probably going to talk a little shit about the Colts again. Currently, they are favored -1.5 points at -115 odds on FanDuel. Bears +1.5, -105 odds. Like we said in our recap show, Anthony Richardson's going out there and playing a game of 500 out in the schoolyard, and this is professional football, and you can't do that, buddy. He is got a 49% completion percentage. Right now, 4 interceptions, but the most air yards in the NFL per attempt at 13.7, and that's because all he does is sling the fucking ball deep downfield. if someone can get Richardson to complete like middle of the field passes at like a 50% clip, that offense probably becomes way better. They're probably way more competitive in some of these games. But until that happens, I can't bank on that happening. On the flip side, the Bears offense, they've scored 1 touchdown in 2 games. It's pretty abysmal. Caleb Williams hasn't looked the best yet. It is back-to-back road games for the Bears, though they are just traveling to Indianapolis, so it's not that far. Still some travel, though. Back-to-back roadies typically not good once you start getting into the middle of the season. I hate this game. I like both these offenses, not too great. Bears defense is decent, though. And they did a good job against that strong Texans team last week in prime time. So I'm going to be taking the Bears plus the points in this one. I feel like the Colts, until you can prove to me that Anthony Richardson can throw a ball for completing over 50%, like it's going to be tough. Like if they were just taking the approach that the Packers are going to have to be, where it's just we are going to run the fucking ball constantly. They've got guys to do that in Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. But I don't think they're going to do that, and that's going to create that bad volatility, like not upside volatility like we want to see. It's bad volatility. I'm also, as a side bet here, I would be slamming the under on this one. Fucking over-under at 43.5 points. Like, both these teams are not prolific scoring offenses.
No.
Do you think that either of
If
them
they
is
do
going
score,
to
it's
eclipse
going to be
20
a big
points?
play. You're not going to get what? How many points was it? 40 what?
43.5.
You need 7 explosive plays to make that happen, or 7 sustained drives.
This is,
I don't
like
see either one of those fucking things happening.
the Colts have a terrible rush defense, but the Bears offense, while they have been leaning into the run, they have not been good at running the ball either. So it's like, where are the points coming from? I think it's a coin flip if one of these teams eclipses 20 points in this game, not 2 of them. I don't think, or like both teams aren't going to eclipse 20 in my mind. So like, to me, that's, if you want to side bet, slam the fucking under in this one.
16-13 feels good there. So yeah, we got 2 young quarterbacks who have no idea what they're doing yet still. Caleb took too many sacks. AR-15 is just slinging it like an AR-15 indiscriminately, just fucking all over the place, bro. This game is tough. The Bears, I think, should win this game based on the things that I saw from the Colts last week. The Bears have not been good at running the ball, but they have guys that I think could make this offense pretty decent and run the ball, do some creative things. And this hasn't happened yet. Anthony Richardson also has that same ability, but the Bears defense is actually really good. So the Bears defense being really good, and the fact that the Colts defense lost the game last week to Malik Willis and the fucking Green Bay Packers running it down their throats makes me lean Bears for sure. Not that it matters. Caleb Williams, 2-0 against the spread to start his career. I think he probably makes it 3-0 because I have no faith in the Colts right now. I like that Bears defense, though. So I'm going Bears 1.5 as well, plus the points.
All righty. Like I said, after last week, fuck the Colts for what they did to America. Fuck them. Until I get some consistency, they can go suck my dick from the back. Next, we have the Chargers and the Steelers being played in Pittsburgh. Should be a defensive focused game here. The Steelers, I just brought up the stat about the Bears. They've scored 1 touchdown in 2 games. So the Steelers have scored 1 touchdown in 2 games. But these are the 2 top scoring defenses in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So defensive matchup. I'm really interested to see Joe Alt going up against TJ Watt in this one. Chargers, good run game. And
will we see Joe Alt versus TJ Watt in this game? Does TJ always line up on the left side of the defense or so over the right tackle?
I don't know that he always does, but they've got a good right tackle out there in San Diego as well. I can see them flip-flopping around or trying to put Watt up against a rookie to see if he can to maximize that. But I don't know. I know that normally he goes up off of the right tackle, but I'm not positive if he's there all the time.
It feels like he always goes over the right tackle because he's not as good as the left tackle. And we want to make it easy for TJ Watt. Anyways.
I don't know that it makes a difference with TJ Watt.
Maybe not this year, but last year when Myles Garrett won. He deserved it.
But look, in this game, look, I haven't seen a whole lot from the Steelers offense to excite me. Justin Fields still going to be starting this game. And so it means it's going to be a run first type of game for the Steelers.
Yeah.
But the passing options aren't there as much. Whereas the Chargers, like they run a actual good run offense. That Harbaugh ball, he runs a good running offense.
The run schemes are great from Harbaugh.
In LA. Yeah, for sure. And they have shown to have a good defense as well. I think J.K. Dobbins could have a huge game. In J.K. Dobbins' time with the Ravens, he absolutely took it to the Steelers. And now he's in another run-heavy offense here where he's looking really good. I believe leading the league in rushing. Like
J.K. Dobbins, yards per carry, super high, super potent runner, always had the potential to be a dude that could just injury. If this kid stays healthy, he has got a shot, especially in an offense led by Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. And so for me in this one, I'm going to be taking the Chargers. They are the dogs in this game. It's -2.5 for the Steelers at -115 odds, +2.5 at 105 odds for the Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers plus the points in this one. They stayed out east this week. So it kind of negates some of the back-to-back roadie issues that can happen there. And out there having fun, making meals for the homeless and stuff like that. You know, Harbaugh's having a good time out there east. I like the Chargers in this game outright. And if I'm going to get points, I'm going to take the points.
Oh, man, you stole a lot of my thunder. They stayed out on the East Coast. They don't have to travel super far. Even if they were worried about that, Herbert is good on road trips. Now, Steelers are 22-14-1 against the spread since 2001, second most profitable team behind the Lions. Justin Herbert is 25-8-1 when his defense allows less than 24 points. Do you see the Steelers scoring a lot of points in this game?
No, this is still another one where I think both teams could score sub 20 points. And if there's one team that I feel better about getting above that 20-point mark, it is the Chargers in this one.
13-17 game, in my opinion. Chargers plus the points because I think that they're going to end up actually being fairly decent. As much as it pisses me off, Herbert is going to come back down to reality. Like, people are going to realize that maybe Herbert should be more of a play action game manager, West Coast type guy instead of trying to sling the ball 45 times a game. And it's probably what's in his best interest. Harbaugh is going to get that into him. This team actually could be pretty decent. I think they will score enough points in this game to win, and it's a field goal difference. Harbaugh will take his 3 points, unlike Staley would have in the past. So Chargers plus the points.
Now, I'll say I'm a bit on the flip side of that as far as Herbert. I still really like Herbert. What do you expect him to do with the fucking options that he has there? Obviously, it's a run first system, but like
it is a run. But I think that's where he should be, man. Like, he looks good in this offense. When he was dropping back 45 times a game,
it's easy to look good when you're just handing the fucking ball off.
Well, yeah.
Like, but I agree. Like, it should, like, it's not any sort of a detriment to him though that they're running the ball. Like, I think that he could absolutely be a high potency passing guy. We've seen him be able to do it in the past. It's just been under some pretty fucking terrible coaching.
I feel like
now he has no receiving options.
I feel like you could see kind of like the Alex Smith type. Like, if he can do that, which I think he's more than capable of, like, he could be really, especially with Harbaugh, like, that could be a really good way for this team to play football.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they should be a run first option. But if I have to bet on one of two quarterbacks here, if it's Justin Fields as a passer or Herbert as a passer,
Herbert,
that's
for
a
sure,
pretty fucking easy bet right there. Also, 64% of the bets are on the Chargers in this one, and 69% of the money Chargers in this bet. All right, next up, last of the morning slate, we have the Broncos and Buccaneers being played out in Tampa. Buccaneers are favored -6.5 points, -104 odds. Broncos -118 odds to get the points.
I would love to go first on this one.
Do it.
Bo Nix sucks dick at football.
Yep.
He is 11 of 36 with 4 interceptions on passes more than 5 yards down the field. We could not have pegged this prospect any more right. He can't throw the ball down the field. The Broncos offense is going to look like a fucking Pee-wee style offense constantly all season. The Bucks defense has shown that they can cover guys. They rally good to the ball. This is a fucking cakewalk. Bucks minus 6.5. This offense is not special. It will never be special with Bo Nix. They don't have that style of offense that they thought they were getting with the Saints of old. That's not what they do. Drew Brees was special. Bo Nix is not. And they don't have the receivers to run the type of shit and the tight end threat to run the type of shit that old Saints ran. That's not coming back. You're not getting that level of Sean Payton. Bucks by $1 billion, but I'll just go Bucks minus 6.5.
Sure, you're not going to do the billion alternate spread.
No.
And look, I'm kind of in the same boat, same statistics close, except for mine are even a little bit more deep passing. So Denver is, or this is their 4th 0-2 start in 6 years, and I think it's going to continue the way that this team looks. The only way that Broncos can possibly have a chance in this game, even covering, which actually something just happened. I'm watching on FanDuel. The line just changed. Bucks minus 5.5 now.
Apparently, is Bo Nix not fucking playing now or what?
I don't know. There might be some sort of injury news or something like that. If you can quick,
I will go ahead and take a look.
They just lost a point,
That's a
which
lot
is interesting. Yeah, that's a lot to lose this close to game time. So something might have just happened. But Bo Nix on passes of 10 or more yards down the field, 25% completion percentage, 3 interceptions. If they want to stay competitive in this game, Bo Nix has to have a better arm passing down the field. It's not there. It's not who he was in college for 6 or 7 years, whatever the fuck it was. It's not what this offense is. On the flip side, the Bucks offense looks complete. Bucky Brooks is looking really good as Bucky Irving, is looking really good at running back. I think he's going to take over for Rashad White as the primary dude here real quick. And that defense, even being down guys in their secondary, is looking good as well. And they're getting some of those guys back. So it's going to be even more difficult for the Broncos to play against this team. I don't expect them to be anywhere close. I'm dropping the points with Tampa as well. That's not just a gut. That's like an eye test thing at this point. Like the Broncos just have not looked good on offense. I don't know what odds you want to go with here or what spread.
Well, listen, if they want to change, I already bet this at 6.5. I'm going to change it. What we have exactly right now to 5.5 when the people are seeing this. Yep. I'm locked into my bet. I can't change that, obviously, but 5.5 sounds even fucking better. I don't see any big time news, injury news, inactives today. Antoine Winfield, Vita Vea, big names for the Bucks. Also, Kalijah Cansey. Broncos inactives, nothing crazy, nothing special. Everybody who's expected to play, I think, is playing. Because the Bucks had guys out last week, and I believe Vita Vea and Antoine Winfield were both out last week.
I know Winfield was. I'm not sure about Vita Vea, but either way, it doesn't make a difference to me. With the guys out last week, the Bucks looked good. Now they're going up against a much worse team. This Broncos team is not the Lions. So, yeah.
No, they cannot stretch the field. They don't stretch the field.
6.5, 5.5. I don't care. I'll drop the points for the Bucks.
Dropping the points for the Bucks. We're gonna go 5.5 because that is what the line currently fucking says. Thank you, FanDuel, for making that change as we were doing this because I already dropped the 6.5 in my bet that I placed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and that's it for our morning slate of games. You want to recap what we got there, Mike?
Absolutely. Go ahead and pop this up for the people as soon as I get it. All right, so for the morning slate, Evo and I are both on the Eagles plus 2.5. I got the Texans minus 1.5. You are obviously taking your Vikings plus 1.5. I got my Browns -6.5. You go the opposite way. Giants +6.5. We're both on the Titans -3. Both on the Bears +1.5. Both on the Bucks +5.5. The only games we disagree on are on each other's teams.
Yep. And I'm disagreeing for a oppo bet. We're fading.
We're fading it.
Alrighty.
All right, so that's where we are for this morning.
Yep. And so we will get to our afternoon slate of games here. We're going to start off with Ravens and the Cowboys. Ravens going into Dallas, where Dallas absolutely got butt fucked last week by the Saints. And now we have the Cowboys, who are underdogs at home, plus 1.5 points for the Cowboys, -118 odds there, -104 odds for the Ravens. Kind of talked about this a little bit before the show, but like teams who start off 0-3, like the last time an 0-3 team made the playoffs and won a game was, I think, 1992. And that, while that is a historical fact, and we're trying not to go off of those too much, like that's a pretty strong indicator. When you start off a year that bad, it is really tough to make up that ground, especially when you're in a competitive division like the Ravens are. So their backs are against the wall. They have to know it. And in general, it's a good team that's been underperforming, specifically in the fourth quarter. Like the margins with this team are great until you hit the fourth quarter. They are absolute dog shit in the fourth. 10 losses in 4 seasons when they've been leading by 7 or more points in the fourth quarter, including last week where they were up 23-13 versus the Raiders and they gave that up. They just have to play one quarter of football average and they should be winning games. That being said, like, they're going up against the Cowboys. We know what the Cowboys offense can be. I don't think that the Cowboys are going to be sleeping on the Ravens. And I don't know how they fucking perform that bad 2 weeks in a row. So this actually should be a very good game. It should be a close game. That's why we're looking at 1.5. It's kind of that pick 'em game. For me, right now, the over-under in this game is 47.5. I would be banging the over on this one because I think both these teams are going to be scoring a lot. I don't think the Ravens D is as good this year. I don't think the Cowboys D after last week is as good as they could be. But the thing with Mike Zimmer defenses, they have done a very bad job at containing mobile quarterbacks outside of Deshaun Watson, but you know my thoughts there. Like they are not great at containing mobile quarterbacks. That's what Lamar is. He has the ability to escape the pressure and make magic happen. I think that this game should be an absolute hit for the over, personally. But Ravens, I think, better team overall. Going an oppo bet here, I'm going to take Dallas plus the points. They're playing at home as well, so I don't feel super terrible about that. And that would be a bad one for the Ravens if they were to drop this.
Yeah, so I like the under, but I also like a lot of yards. So I actually have part of my Lineman Lounge parlay in this game. But listen, this is the 5th time that the Ravens have started 0-2 to start a season. Every year that they've started 0-2, they have never gone above 500. So they might have already dug quite a fucking hole. Obviously, there's always the opportunity to change that. Lamar Jackson is an absolute stud. And I expect him to be a stud today. But the Cowboys as home dogs has not happened since 2022. I believe that they're going to take that as a little bit of a slap in the face. I think the Cowboys have the potential to get a really good pass rush.
They did win that game in 2022 as well.
They actually 1-1 against the spread. From what I saw, that happened twice that year. I think the Cowboys can absolutely win this game and cover. But I think Lamar Jackson is going to have a big day. Ton of yards. So in terms of yards, if you're looking at the NFL, the Ravens average the most yards per game. Dallas, not bad. Not, a little more towards the bottom end. But the Ravens don't score any fucking points. They only score 21.5 a game. Bottom half of the NFL. I actually think that the under is capable here with a lot of points. I see a lot of field goals in this game. Both these teams will stiffen up a little bit at the goal line. And we have seen Lamar Jackson struggle at times in those tighter areas. I think we'll see a ton of yards, maybe not as many points. So that's why I'm a little more on the under. But I'm going with the Cowboys plus the points, plus a point and a half as the home dogs. Lamar Jackson over 279.5 passing rushing yards combined, because I believe that he will have to be a huge part of their offense to keep this thing close.
Yeah, and look, gamblers are kind of split on this one as well. Right now, 59% of the bets are on the Ravens against the spread, but 51% of the money is on the Cowboys. So it is like neck and neck even with gamblers on this one. So be careful. Be careful of betting this game because it does look like it could go either way. Yeah, it's definitely a tough one. Next up, another kind of fun game. This one I'm interested in watching as well. Lions Cardinals in Arizona. We finally saw Marvin Harrison Jr. get utilized for at least one quarter last week. Looked fucking fantastic. Kyler's still looking good. Right now, you've got the Detroit Lions as the favorite going into Arizona, -3 at -106 odds or -114 odds if you want to give the Cardinals the points. Look, they couldn't score. The Lions could not score last week.
Yeah.
Versus that Tampa team, which is really weird because Tampa had 216 total yards in that game and were able to beat the Lions. The Lions put up 463 yards and they weren't able to score. Like I said, I think that offense, for whatever reason, just looks like it's missing something. It's not clicking as well as it should. But Detroit is 5-0 coming off a loss since 2023. This could have the potential of being a high-scoring game. The Lions' pass defense still is not looking good. Like, thought this might be the year that they fix it. Not the case so far. I'm kind of interested to see where you go on this one because, I mean, I've got my pick locked in here. I haven't said it yet, but I'm interested to see what you got.
So for me, man, like the big thing that jumps out, we talked about unders last week with the Lions. That was part of my parlay. Points of games of over 50 total, unders typically hit. Dan Campbell, they tended to go under. Point totals of 50 plus this year are 3-0 to the under. I don't think that's going to happen in this game. I expect this game to be very high scoring, just like you. I think there's going to be a ton of fucking points. Kyler Murray looks healthy. Kyler Murray's going to have to run around a lot, though, because Aiden Hutchinson's a fucking dog. I think the Lions are having some troubles in the red zone. They're going to have to find a way to either utilize David Montgomery more efficiently. I worried about this last week. He's not working at an efficient clip. If they're not on the 1 yard line, he's not getting in. Or they're going to have to get more creative with Jahmyr Gibbs to create some space down there. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, though. I don't think Dan Campbell is going to continue to allow his team to not score fucking points. He's going to get on somebody. And I think Kyler is really having a nice resurgent year, showing people that, you know what, maybe I am a top 100 player in the NFL. Maybe I got some skills. So
until the next Call of Duty comes out and then my fantasy team
So November, then he's going to suck again. But I like Detroit here, man. I think that they are the better team, and that's more where I went with. I actually think this is going to end up as a push. I think Detroit wins, and they win by 3. But I'm not buying up or buying down. We're taking the line exactly as it is. So I'm going with the Lions -3, but I expect this to be a push. A lot of yards in this game. Kyler over 271.5 passing and rushing yards.
All righty. Well, look, I kind of love the Cards in this game. Playing at home, being the underdog, the way they've been playing. I absolutely want to take Cardinals +3, so I'm fading myself when I feel that. I'm doing the Lions -3. I don't like the way that the Lions haven't been having offensive firepower like they should, what we expect. I know they got the pieces there, and it's just not been working out for them. They've got one of the best offensive lines in football, and they aren't dominating that line of scrimmage like they should. So that's why I love the Cardinals in this game. So I'm taking the Lions -3 in this one, and I'm fading myself. And I hate it. It's like pulling teeth.
Fade Evo season started early.
Yep. Well, look, I can't. Look, I'm a quick switch.
We have never had a Fade Evo. We've had Fade Mike a couple of times, one time for sure.
and this is just me personally. I have to fade myself when I'm getting 1/3 of my bets correct. I can't
Yeah.
fucking do that right now.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see after
fine.
this week where we want to sit with it. All right. So going for some of our other afternoon slated games, we have the Panthers and the Raiders being played in Vegas. Raiders get a good one last week, not expected versus the Ravens traveling across the country. And the Panthers, they've sat Bryce Young, which means it's Andy Dalton season. We are looking at 2 touchdowns passing from Andy Dalton, 2 interceptions from Andy Dalton. You're going to get more points. Look, it's going to provide some sort of a boost to this Panthers team. They're not a good
I
team,
think so.
but like you put in a competent quarterback, one that is a veteran who has been on good teams, who's been on bad teams, who knows how to operate. You're going to see an offensive boost from this team. And that's why we're not seeing a point spread more than this 5.5 right now. It's Raiders minus 5.5 at minus 115 odds and minus 105 odds for the Panthers. I don't really have a whole lot else on this game because, like, look, we know the Panthers are not great. I think a lot of people are going to be trying to ride the hot hand here, which is obviously the Raiders, and it's easy to say the Panthers are terrible. But you're also going to have a decent contingent of people that are going to be like, well, maybe Dalton kind of turns things around here for the Panthers a little bit, and turn things
Do
around.
you
He
know how
will.
bad it's going to be in Carolina if Andy Dalton goes out there and plays competent looking football?
I mean,
It's going to be so
it's
bad.
already bad. It's
Yeah.
already real bad. So I think the obvious choice here is kind of on the Raiders. They're a much better team. They beat up on a Ravens team that is a very good team. And that's I want to go with the Raiders. So I'm taking Andy Dalton plus 5.5 points in this one. Oppo bet.
All right. I'm absolutely not doing that. I'm still not gambling on the Panthers because it's the Panthers and they're really bad. Bryce Young was terrible, but he's not the only person that has been terrible on that team. That offensive line is atrocious. We talked about it when we were doing draft profiles a couple of years ago. Igor Ikwanu is not a fucking tackle. I said it when we were going through the draft analysis. I might even go back and find that shit. He is not a tackle. He is one of the worst tackles in all of football. And he needs to be moved inside to guard. That offensive line is atrocious. It will continue to be atrocious. And they're going up against the Raiders and Max Crosby, who I think is going to win Defensive Player of the Year at this point, the way he's fucking playing. Because he is insane. He hasn't missed a fucking snap. So it's the Raiders by 5.5. I'm not going Oppo bet. And I also got Minshew going over on his yards here. Over 217.5 passing yards because the Raiders can't run the fucking football. The Raiders have to throw. And the fact that he's only expected to throw 217 is kind of simple because they're going to score enough to beat the Panthers. And the only way they can move the ball is by throwing it. So Gardner Minshew over 217.5, Raiders minus 5.5 points.
All righty. Next up, Dolphins without Tua going into Seattle, traveling a pretty hefty distance out there to Seattle. Seattle's favored minus 4.5 points, minus 105 odds, minus 115 if you want to give the Dolphins the points. Skylar Thompson in, new starting quarterback. And that is definitely scary for the Dolphins and Dolphins fans. Skylar Thompson, a guy that like I heralded as that UDFA 7th round pick type guy, thinking like, hey, this guy's actually got a little juice to him. And that's why he's a backup there now. He beat out Mike White, Jet legend, for the backup job there in Miami.
Yeah. Jet legend. That was
which has to say something. And look, Seattle started looking a lot better last week. We are seeing JSN do good things. DK obviously doing good things. Geno is passing the ball pretty well. No Kenneth Walker again. Charbonnet is going to be running out of the backfield. And this is definitely a game that I think, given home field advantage and being a healthier team, especially at the most important position, quarterback position, Seattle should win this one. Seattle should absolutely be able to drop that 4.5 points.
Yeah.
I'm taking Skylar Thompson and the Dolphins plus 4.5 points. Waddle, they have Tariq. They got Ashane running the ball. They have an offense that can put up a lot of points. People might start sleeping on them because Skylar is the quarterback. And so I'm going to fade that smart bet of the Seattle Seahawks dropping the points. I'm going to take the Dolphins plus the points because fuck it. Oppo week.
Oppo week. I'm going. You already told me exactly why I'm going the Seahawks. I have to, first of all, because it's the smart bet. You're traveling from Miami to Seattle with a backup quarterback. I know Miami is very talented, but they are in a terrible situation right now. Skylar Thompson, for all the things that we like about him, is going to be a backup and probably never anything more than that. So Seahawks minus 4.5. I feel bad for Dolphins fans. I hope Tua starts to get better.
Yeah, no moving on that. I don't really expect to see any movement on the Tua front.
We won't hear anything until at least after he's going to go through all of IR, and then probably they're still going to be working him through the concussion protocol afterward while they approach next steps. Would be my guess.
Alrighty, I'm trying to find the bets for our next game here in FanDuel. There we go. We got the 49ers and Rams being played in LA. I believe if Joe Rockstar is watching, please chime in. I think he talks about San Fran owning Los Angeles. Not necessarily the team, but the stadium showing up in droves there. Right now, the Rams underdog minus 115 at plus 6.5 points. You can get San Fran dropping the points minus 6.5 at minus 105 odds. Both these teams are beat up. Look, the Rams are getting some of their offensive line help back, but it doesn't change the fact that they're down their 2 starting wide receivers in Puka. Oh God, now I can't think of the white boy's name.
Cooper Kupp.
49ers, though, they're also missing like a lot of this offensive firepower. Now, Mason has stepped in and been really fucking good. He's like been a really fucking solid running back.
Well, he doesn't have any fucking tread on his tires.
Yeah. You got Debo out. I believe Kittle also is looking to be out. You're missing a bunch of the offensive firepower. 49ers kind of coming off of a whooping from the Vikings, despite the score not being as large as it could be. This is a get-back game for the 49ers, and I think that Shanahan is definitely the type of coach to do that. On the flip side, the Rams got absolutely decimated last week by the Cardinals. McVay's, I think it was like his second worst point differential loss as a head coach. It's tough because the Rams 6.5 still feels kind of big to me with both these teams being as injured as they are. But I do like the 49ers depth better than I like the Rams depth personally. So I want to take the Rams here. Plus the points at home.
You broke up?
I was saying I want to take the Rams here plus the points. 2 injured teams take home field advantage and extra points. I want to take them. But I know this 49ers team is good. I'm going to drop the points for the 49ers. Minus 6.5 for San Fran is going to be my bet.
Well, thank God. I was like, there's no way you're taking the Rams here. I know you're in Oppo week, but there's no way. They're so hurt, man. Stafford, 3-7 against the spread against the 49ers. So they're fucking San Fran does own LA. They specifically own Stafford. And they're so hurt. They're the most injured football team in the entire league. I'm bitching about my Browns and not knowing when the tackles are going to be back. The fucking Rams cannot catch a break. And it's been years, it feels like, that they have been just beat the fuck up with injury after injury after injury. I understand this is a divisional game, so it could be close. But the Rams are so fucking hurt that I can't not go 49ers minus 6.5. They have no weapons, man. They stack the box. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to maybe get some underneath check downs. You could even fucking probably – you don't even necessarily need to run a too high safety. By the way, too high safety is very popular. I don't know if you saw the stuff I was tagging in on fucking Twitter, but too high safeties are all the rage right now. Bring an extra guy into the fucking box. You don't need too high safeties. They have nobody to throw the ball to down the field. 49ers.
Alrighty. And that is it for our afternoon games on Sunday. It takes us to Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
You got the Chiefs and the Falcons being played in Atlanta. The Falcons, who were able to take it to, well, in one drive, were able to
Yep, there
take
you
it
go.
to
They're not
the
taking
Eagles.
They were getting their asses beat the majority of that game.
Yeah. It was a run-heavy game from both teams there. Both of them looked sloppy. Falcons have no fucking pass rush, man. Like, they are the bottom of the league in pressure percentage. It doesn't look like they're drawing up blitzes, even like one of the lowest blitzing teams. But the Chiefs, on the other hand, almost dropped one of the Bengals last week. If it wasn't for that PI call, like the Bengals,
Which
very
was
well
justified
could have won that game.
PI call.
I could see it either way, man. Like, it felt way more ticky-tacky to me than it needed to be. But the rest were calling it very tight in that game. I'd like to let him play a little bit more personally. But look, Atlanta, terrible pass rush. Mahomes is going to be able to take advantage of that. Isaiah Pacheco out long-term with that fracture in his leg. I like KC here, obviously, to win this game. I like him to drop the points. I think we're going to go back to the mean with Kirk Cousins not being good in prime time. And the thing with the Chiefs is they don't cover the spread, so I'm take the Falcons plus the point. So bet it should be KC winning this game. It should be KC dropping the points. Oppo bet for me. Falcons plus the points here. Yep, it's Falcons +3 at -104 odds. Kansas City -118 odds. Look, Kansas City doesn't. They haven't blown anyone out. They aren't beating up on anyone like they should.
No.
They don't cover the spreads. I don't like the Falcons in this game. I don't like them to win. And I'm going to take the points for the Falcons because we're going for it.
So for me, man, I'm not doing that. Primetime Kirk Cousins showed up last week
for one drive.
But how often
that shouldn't have happened?
How often do we expect primetime Kirk Cousins to show up? We don't. Right? Like, this doesn't happen. Kirk O'Chains it's not happening. I think he's not healthy. The Chiefs are better. Listen, I almost said Peyton Manning. The fucking Pat Mahomes with no pass rush is going to sit back and just dice people up. Like, he's going to.
They're probably going to elevate fucking Kareem Hunt and let him run 2.5 yards per clip and win by a field goal.
By the way, this is not part of my Lineman Lounge parlay, but a guy who's definitely getting the end zone this week is Travis Kelce. This is the third week of the season, and he only has like 4 fucking catches. They're going to find a way to get him involved because he's just going to go and work the soft zone that the Falcons are running.
I mean, he needs to get involved. He's been fucking vacant from football.
Yeah, he's not. He has not really been there. I think he gets back on track this week. I like a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. But yeah, I gotta go Chiefs, man. I don't think Kirk is going to show up multiple fucking primetime games in a row. I know the Chiefs don't cover, but 3 points doesn't feel like a huge stretch to me, so I'm going Chiefs -3.5.
Alrighty. And that's it for Sunday. And Monday, we have a little treat. 2 Monday night games because it's week 3, and why not, I guess. I don't know. Is there something political going on that the NFL is trying to fucking – I don't fucking know. I don't understand why they're doing it. And I don't understand why they're doing them so close. We have one game starting and 45 minutes after the other. So if you want to watch 2 football games at once, this is great for you. Which is not my preferred way of watching football games. I would prefer to just sit down, watch one, and then watch the other.
Listen,
so when I enjoy it like a normal person.
Exactly. When I watch the games, I want listen, when I'm watching the Browns, that's the only fucking thing on TV. I will do the 3 and 4 screens with Sunday Ticket for the games that are not my game, so I can get more in, so I can have to watch less games on the back end on fucking NFL Plus. But it is definitely not the preferred way. The only reason I like it watching those 4 games is because I actually know how to scan a bunch of fucking screens. Thank you, Army. Thank you, drone piloting, for teaching me how to keep up a scan to watch different screens at a time. Like, oh, that play's over. Let's go this one. That's starting to play. Oh, no, they are. So that's the only reason it's any good, but it's not the preferred way at all. I hate the fact that they're doing 2 Monday night games at the same fucking time. It makes no sense. They should be staggered enough that you could basically watch all of one and then you can start the next one, or you can finish that one. And by the time you get into the next one, you're halfway through the first quarter and you have the entire game to go.
And the reason they have them stacked like this surely is because it's a Monday night game. It's middle of the week.
Money, baby.
People have to go to work and they want people to watch it, but like maybe just don't do 2 Monday night games, you know? What like is that fucking insane? Like, I don't know. Either way, first game up, we got the Jags and the Bills being played in New York. Jags looked pretty fucking terrible last week. Trevor Lawrence said as much, like, we are not good right now. Buffalo 11-1 in their last 12 regular season games in Buffalo. They're doing really good. They're rolling there. I believe that they're the odds-on favorite in most betting markets to win the Super Bowl as of right now. Despite still not having a huge prolific passing offense, they're running the ball. That's all they had to do against Miami last week, especially once Tua went out. And their defense was looking pretty fucking solid too, getting a lot of turnovers there versus that Dolphins team.
Lawrence, that defense is actually healthy again finally.
Yeah, for now. But look, Trevor Lawrence also, T-Law has the longest losing streak for a starting quarterback in the NFL, 7 games. Not a good stat. O-line for the Jags is just looking absolutely fucking terrible. It's tough for him to operate when he's getting sacked 7 times, getting hit 11 times. And also, I think, like I said, Jags, I think, are a better team than what they've been showing, but things are starting to tear apart at the seams here. Trent Baalke's the GM down there. We talked about how Trent Baalke just fucking gets into it with every fucking head coach that he has, and it just is a matter of time. It started already.
Doug Peterson's not going to fucking...
Yeah, it started there in Jacksonville. There are reports out there that Peterson and Baalke are butting heads leading into this, previous offseason. So it's already happened. It happened with Harbaugh out there in San Fran.
He's a micromanager that has to have his fucking hands in everything. I don't know why they keep hiring that guy as a GM. He has to feel like he is done. It's his mind. It's his thing. I don't get it. I don't fucking understand it.
So we'll see who ends up winning that pissing contest out there. I would be on Doug Peterson because he
should win.
I don't think he's like a phenomenal coach or anything like that, but he's shown to do good things with Philly before. And Baalke, everywhere he goes, ends up having a very short life cycle with the people that he works around. So interesting. That doesn't really factor into the game too much here. This isn't a gut play for me or anything like that. Right now, the Bills are favored in this one. I am taking the Bills dropping the points. Got to pull up the spread here. Minus 5.5 at minus 105. Yep, minus 5.5, minus 105 odds. Jacksonville is minus 115 if you want to give them the points. I'm not giving them the points. I am dropping those for the Bills. It's just a smart play here in general. No opposition bet here at all. Bills are good. Want to see James Cook just run it all over the fucking place.
I gotta pull up my bets here because I want to see. I'm pretty sure I got this earlier in the week at 4.5. So to lose an extra point would suck. Yeah, I got it at 4.5. So now it's 5.5.
It's 5.5. Yep.
Oh, they're a touchdown better than the Jags, right? And the Jags are playing fucking terrible.
Yep.
I don't want to lose another point. I'm going to do it. I'm going to drop the points. I'm still going to go with the points drop. Bills minus 5.5. I don't love the fact that I got it at 4.5 earlier, but Josh Allen on extra rest has not actually been great against the spread, 8-14-1. Trevor Lawrence has been a bad bet against the spread his entire career, 24-30. The Bills are a better team. I was dropping 4.5 earlier. I felt good about 4.5. I'll drop one more. It's still a touchdown, so I don't need the extra point. I'm okay with that. So yeah, Bills minus 5.5. Going there.
I'll say this about the Bills is that in years past, they have had to rely on Josh Allen only, and his ability to pass the ball because they haven't really had a semblance of a run game. They do have a semblance of a run game now. Like Josh Allen, while he showed week 1 he could throw the team on his back and carry this whole fucking thing. He doesn't have to. It's not on his shoulders passing the ball as much as it has been in previous years because James Cook in that run game has looked pretty good and the defense has been able to make it not a shootout for him. So I think that favors the Bills pretty well because Josh Allen, when he has to put on the Superman cape, he can do that, but he doesn't have to. Not like previous years, and that makes it a much safer play for them to be good going forward. All right, our second Monday night game, our last game of the week to discuss. Washington Commanders going into Cincinnati playing the 0-2 Bengals. We talked about being 0-2 and then going 0-3 and how that plays into playoffs and everything like that. This is a Bengals team that obviously looked pretty bad that first week. But last week, again, depending on what side of the house you are on that PI call, like they absolutely could have beat Kansas City in Kansas City last week. It was a much closer game. And then I also brought this up earlier with the Commanders. Commanders lost that game last week. The Giants beat them if it wasn't for the fact that they didn't have a kicker. And so the Commanders were able to win that game without scoring a touchdown, I believe. It was nothing but field goals for them. Look, the best rookie quarterback this year on the field has been Jaden Daniels, and it hasn't been special. So that's not anything to
efficient, but not special.
Yeah, nothing special at all. No rookie quarterback has thrown for a touchdown yet.
Yeah, no,
which is pretty wild too. Look, I might have said this in a previous show. I'll say it now. I think that the best looking rookie quarterback right now is JJ McCarthy. He's doing fantastic rehabbing. Because look, Drake May got in a little bit on Thursday, and that was not great. Don't put him in anymore. Leave Jacoby out there. Jaden Daniels is the next closest thing to in the best playing quarterback right now as far as the rookies. He has a little bit of juice, but it scares me him going up against that pass rush. Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals. They finally got a little bit more pass rush last week. I still think the defense has a lot of holes to it in Cincy, but Cincy's a better team. Can Jamar Chase keep his emotions in check? If they start to fucking keep this game close or get down at all, like it could be an emotional blowout for the Bengals.
Right, yeah.
Themselves. But right now it's Bengals -7.5 at -105 odds. It's a big fucking
a lot of points, and I know you don't like doing that.
I don't like doing that, but I absolutely don't like giving the Commanders a chance to win here. I'm going to take the Bengals minus the points in this one. I really want to fade myself here. I really want to do an opposite bet and take the Commanders, but I don't know how I can do that with the Commanders going into Cincinnati on Monday night primetime game for Jaden Daniels. I don't think I can do that, so I'm going to do Bengals minus the 7.5, though I feel like this still could be a lower scoring game just because I'm not sold on the Bengals yet completely either. But I'll drop the points for the Bengals and call it a week there.
All right, I'm doing the same, man. Joe Burrow, 6-0-1 against the spread in his time in the NFL. If he has lost 2 or more consecutive games, I think they bounce back. They're going to force Jaden Daniels into making some mistakes. The reason they won last week, I know you're saying the Giants won that game, but Jaden Daniels didn't make any mistakes. He just did what he had to do, played efficient game manager football. I think the Bengals forced some mistakes this week, and we'll see some holes in that Commanders team. Bengals bounce back, get right. I got Bengals minus 7.5. However, based on what I have written here, did we miss a game? Because there are not teams on buys yet, right?
There are not teams on buys. It's possible that we missed a game.
All right, so
double check us.
14 games here. I got 15 games total. Patriots, we got Eagles, Texans, Vikings, Browns, Giants, Titans, we both took. Bears, we both took. Bucks, we both took. Cowboys, we both took. Lions, we both took. I got the Raiders. You got the Panthers. Seahawks, I took. You took the Dolphins. Both on the 49ers. I went Chiefs. You went Falcons. Both on the Bills. Both on the Bengals. What game are we missing?
I'm not seeing any that we're missing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only 15 games. There's 32 teams. We have got to be missing something.
I got 16 games on here.
Let's see here. Talk that one.
We're doing it live, folks.
We're doing it live. I apologize. We're going to figure out this because I want to show everybody the picks before we get off of here. Browns, Giants, we went.
I mean, I'm looking at all of these. We picked all these games. Did you not write down all the games that we picked?
I might have missed one. Chargers, Steelers.
All right. We're just going to go through the ESPN list here real quick. Do you have the Giants, Browns?
Yes.
Packers, Titans.
Yes.
Thursday night game.
Bears, Colts.
Yes.
Texans, Vikings.
Yes.
Eagles, Saints.
Yep.
Chargers, Steelers.
That's the one. That's the one I did not write down. I missed the Chargers, Steelers. I went Chargers.
And I did as well.
And that was 2.5.
I believe so. I'll double check. Yep, 2.5.
Okay. Chargers, 2.5. That is the game that I forgot to write down. Sorry, folks. Gotta keep myself honest. Missed that guy. But there we are. So let me pop this up now that now that we got it all.
Have just about a half an hour, a little over half hour before game time. So if you want to follow our bets, if you want to fade picks like I am, you can go with those.
There we go.
We got to increase ourselves from previous weeks here.
Got to do better. Listen, we're fairly close again. Obviously, we talked about it in the first half. We disagree on each other's teams, but we were chalk basically throughout. Afternoon games, we are different, though, quite a bit. You got Panthers. I got Raiders. I got Seahawks. You got Dolphins. You like the points I'm willing to drop. Chiefs, Falcons. We disagree there. Both on the Bills, though. Both on the Bengals. Both on the Chargers, which is not an evening game, but I'm a dumbass, and I forgot to write it down.
And for what it's worth, I'm not taking an opposite spread for the Chargers. I am doing 2.5 for the Chargers, not the 2.6.
That's what happens when I drag it over. 2.5. And shit, if you could buy it up at 2.6, I mean, that'd be great. So there we go. That is the picks for today. We got some additional bets, though, to get out for the people. I believe producer Amber has dropped those on the socials, but we are going to talk some of these. I've already talked a little bit through mine, but we got the Lineman Lounge parlays for Sunday.
Yep, we got our parlay up here. Mike, you're doing Minshew over 217.5 passing yards. Kyler, a total of 271.5 yards. That's rushing and passing. And Lamar rushing and passing 279.6.
Quarterbacks need to get right. We have seen.
I probably fucked that one up as well.
Listen, that one was not me. That was you. Listen, the quarterbacks need to play better. Across the league, quarterbacks need to play better. Yards are down. I talked about the reason why. Minshew, they're going to have to throw the ball because they can't run it. Kyler, I expect big yards. They're playing the Lions. Lamar Jackson's going to have to be a superhero against the Cowboys to keep this thing close. Plus 572 odds. I don't feel like that's outrageous. Big day for quarterbacks. We have seen a lot of people complaining about too high safeties. Teams are going to figure this out. Offensive coordinators are smart. They're going to find the honey holes. They're going to attack the middle of the field. Big day for quarterbacks. Bounce back for quarterbacks. Let's make some money with that parlay.
Yep. And for me, I'm doing a little bit more of the over-under stuff here because I fucking hate spreads. So I ain't touching them on my parlays. The Chicago-Indy game, 43.5. I don't know who they think is going to be scoring all these points over here, so I'm hitting the under on that one. The Carolina-Vegas game, 39.5. Look, Vegas showed that they can score some points last week, and I think that Carolina will have an increase in scoring because of Andy Dalton. With that, I think that we could see that hit the over of 39.5, but not by much. I wouldn't expect this game to go much higher than 42, 43. And then Minnesota money line, I got to go with my team. I think that we are going to win this game. I like us to go 3-0 now. So that gives us plus 659 odds, probably because that Carolina-Vegas game is a little bit wonky. No one expects Carolina to score points, but me, apparently, with Dalton going in there. So 659 odds if you want to follow along with that bet.
All right, there we go. The Lineman Lounge parlays. We got the bets for the day. You got anything else? Because I talked about a couple of things. I think Travis Kelce gets on the board today. I think he actually we're going to see him do something. He gets in the end zone finally because he has not been a part of that offense. Needs to be, especially with guys missing from that offense. You got any other bets? Anything you want to hit on real quick before we bounce out of here?
No, not a ton. Look, if I'm going for an anytime touchdown score, I'm taking Bijan to get a touchdown in this game. He's the only person on that Falcons team that I truly feel like you can count on. I can't count on Pitts. I can't count on Drake London yet. Definitely don't know what Kirk Cousins is going to be, but they have shown a proclivity to run the ball. They have shown a proclivity to feed Bijan. So anytime touchdown for Bijan in that night game.
All right, there we go. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up, brother. You got anything else you want to go over before we start getting the hell out of here?
No, not really. I mean, look, we are the Lineman Lounge. We are being presented here by the No Sleeves Network. We're part of the No Sleeves Network. If you want to check out that No Sleeves Network, we got a QR code here. Let's take a second, go check out our website. But it would also be a huge deal to us if you would let other people know about our show, help support us. It takes you very little time to just give us a like. I understand maybe not subscribing, but if you can like the show, share us to your friends and subscribe. Obviously, we were a couple doubling thick idiots. We were trying some different shit here to get our bets better because not hitting like we were last year. But we got to get right for you guys. We got to get right for us and our pocketbooks as well. Shit. But look, we like to have a fun time. We got the call line down below. If you ever think that we were saying something fucking retarded, and I said the hard R word, but if you think that we're saying that, fucking call in and tell us, please. Like,
yeah,
we want to have that back and forth. You don't even have to tell us who you are if you don't want to. Throw a comment in. Tell us when we are being absolutely asinine with it. Taking the Panthers plus the points, absolutely asinine. I'll do that to myself right now. But call in or message us. Let us know. Like the show. Share it to your friends so that way they can tell us how asinine we are as well. We would love the back and forth with that. And then Mike can put up some videos of him yelling at his TV or something like that, or at the.
I promise you, if the fucking Giants win today, you will see me on the Twitter machine.
And you're going to be in a bad spot if the Giants win today.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Guarantee you that.
But
that's all I got, brother.
All right, man. Evo, my guy, I appreciate you so much. This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That is Evo. You can interact with us anywhere down below: X, Facebook, TikTok, the Lineman Lounge 2.0. There's the call line that will be open again on Tuesday night when we go live for our recap show. But phone lines are open the entire time that we are live. So, like Evo said, call in, give us some shit. We're not opposed to it. That's kind of what we thrive on, baby. This is a veteran-run organization. Veteran-run
shit talking is our love language, man.
Yeah, it is. That and dark humor. So if you don't like the things that we say, we're not sorry, but we appreciate you checking us out anyways, because time is the most valuable thing that you have. Anytime that you give us some of yours, we are forever grateful for that. Time is something that you can never get back. So it means the world to us that you guys show up and show out for us. But with that, we're going to get out of here. We're going to enjoy some football. Hopefully we make you guys and ourselves a bunch of money, but we will be back Tuesday night recapping the week that was. With that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys very much. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. See ya.